6 p.m. for Albany City Council meeting. And I'll call the meeting to order. Can we please all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? City Recorder, have a roll call, please.
Counselor McGee,
Present.
Counselor Newton,
She's on work business.
Counselor Thompson,
Here.
Counselor Van Dremelen,
Here.
Counselor McLeod,
Present.
Counselor Smith,
Here.
Mayor Johnson.
Here. So next on tonight's agenda, I'm going to do a little deviation. Peter, would you join me?
I don't know.
So I hope most of you know that Janet has been the CEO of our president of our chamber for over 30 years. And she's also has been a mentor, a resource, a person that supports business in town. And she's done a great job. And one of the things I really appreciate about Janet is that you started the Leadership Roundtable.
Yeah.
I think that's something I look to every day. And that's when the leaders of the city get together and we kind of talk about the things that are happening in our different areas and our expertise. And so I want to say to you, thank you very much for your service. And
Thank
Peter, I wrote a letter and Peter's going to read it to you.
Okay.
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 All right. I have to say also that the first thing that when I got here was Laura Hyde. You remember Laura Hyde? Telling me that I was signed up for Leadership Albany.
That's right.
And I took that class. We were the best class ever. And,
Well, they beg to differ
I
back there, so.
Where's Kayla at? Yeah, she's
No.
Okay. Dear Janet, on behalf of the council and the staff of the city of Albany, I'd like to extend my warmest congratulations on your well-deserved retirement and express our deep appreciation for your 30 years of dedicated service to the Albany Area Chamber of Commerce. Your leadership and commitment have left an indelible mark on our business community and on the city as a whole. Over the past 3 decades, you've guided the chamber with vision and integrity, strengthening partnerships between local businesses, fostering community, and helping create a thriving environment for economic growth. Your legacy is one of purpose, determination, and a dedication to our city. Chambers of commerce play a vital role in the health of local economies. They connect businesses to resources, promote sound economic policies, and cultivate a sense of shared purpose that keeps our communities moving forward. Under your leadership, the Albany Area Chamber has exemplified its mission of being a business and community advocate and vigorously pursued its vision of being recognized as a leader in the development of partnerships to maximize quality job growth that balances prosperity and quality of life. We wish you all the best as you step into the next chapter of your life. I hope that you'll carry with you the knowledge that your years of service and dedication inspired those who follow you. The City of Albany is grateful for your partnership and wishes you happiness and fulfillment in your retirement. With sincere gratitude and best wishes, signed, Alex Johnson II, Mayor.
Thank you. Do I get a?
Oh, of course you do.
Janet Steele, y'all.
How we do that?
Oh, I know what those coins are for. Thank you.
All right.
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Next on agenda, item 3 is adoption of the consent calendar.
Move to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, aye. Those opposed say no. Thank you, council. Next is presentations and ceremonies. Presentation by Mennonite Village Reestablishing Hospital Finance Authority. Diane Hood and Greg Blond. It's a verbal. I say your name correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. I'm Diane Hood, the CEO of Mennonite Village, and I just want to share a little bit about our current project that we need bond issuer for, and for some of the future development we have planned on our campus for the next 20 years. Our current project is 60 cottages in 30 duplexes, a brand-new, up-to-date memory care building with 24 private bed and private bath, including an outdoor healing garden, and a new campus production kitchen that will ultimately serve dining venues to be developed at later dates. We plan to finance the project with tax-exempt bonds in March of 2026, and to begin construction shortly after with roughly a 2-year construction duration. We are currently pre-sold 46.66% of these 60 cottages and hope to achieve 50% by the end of the calendar year, demonstrating the demand for these new cottages. We're looking at approximately a $99 million bond issue, and we do have approval from all of you for 196 cottages, which is 98 total duplexes for future phases. We have a multi-phased campus master plan that stretches over 20 years, including new buildings, campus redevelopment, and replacement of existing aging structures. The benefit of our project to the city is we're going to add additional voters to the area. We are attracting folks from different parts of the country and state. We'll be paying additional taxes in the form of property taxes. We'll add construction jobs during our construction duration, as this is a significantly large project. And of course, we'll add jobs to our campus to serve our new residents. So we really feel we'll bring benefit to the city of Albany.
And my name's Greg Blond. I'm a municipal finance attorney at Orrick, Carrington, and Sutcliffe in Portland, Oregon. And Mennonite Village is a nonprofit corporation, which means that their profits are not distributed to owners or stockholders, but rather they're reinvested in the mission. And nonprofit corporations of all stripes, hospitals, senior living facilities, higher ed, they have the ability to finance projects with tax-exempt bonds. And as some of you probably know, what that means is that the interest that the borrower pays to lenders or bondholders does not get taxed by the federal government or the state government. So those lenders, those bondholders, they will offer a lower interest rate than they would if they did have to pay tax on that borrowing. So it's a feature of the tax code that nonprofit corporations can take advantage of. But they can't do it on their own. The nonprofit corporations are required to do it through a government agency of some kind. And states, all the states have their own version of the creation of entities whose sole purpose is to facilitate this kind of tax-exempt financing. In Oregon, the statute dates from the 70s, and it allows cities and counties to create hospital facility authorities whose sole purpose is to passively do this and offer this assistance to nonprofit corporations in their community. So the city of Albany created its hospital facility authority in 1977, and it was primarily used for Mennonite Village, but also for healthcare facilities that, if they're still around, have been are under the Samaritan Health Services banner at this point. So in 2018, the city recognized that nobody had used the authority for quite some time and it became inactive. It was technically dissolved according to the minutes of your meetings. And so the request is that we can come back at a meeting in January, hopefully, where the city will consider formally reestablishing the hospital facility authority which would allow Mennonite Village to issue its tax-exempt bonds through the authority and finance its project. For any financing like this, it's, I think, critical to know that the city and the hospital authority are not the credit that stands behind the bonds. There's only one party that's responsible for paying the bonds, and that's Mennonite Village. But this governmental agency mechanism is required in order to get the tax treatment on the bonds. So yeah, I think the punchline is that we're hoping to come back to you in January for a more formal approval to reestablish the authority, but happy to answer any questions now. If there are
Council,
any.
any questions? Councilor McLeod?
Thank you. Thank you. Have you explored other options for reaching this goal? And are there other options available to you?
So there is a statewide authority called the Oregon Facilities Authority that issues tax-exempt bonds, and we represent them as well. They don't usually issue senior living bonds because there are restrictions on the kind of investors that can be sought by the bankers who place these bonds, and those restrictions aren't in place for hospital facility authorities in Oregon. So most senior living transactions in Oregon are done by some local hospital facility authority. Most of the counties have them. They're often inactive, like the cities. So there are other national options. There's an authority out of Wisconsin that works on transactions around the country. However, if that authority is used, then the bonds will not be exempt from Oregon state taxes, state income taxes, which are quite high. And so there's a real interest rate savings to a borrower that can issue bonds that are exempt from Oregon state tax, not just federal income state tax.
And could you please expand on why you're not eligible for the state program?
So under the rules that govern the Oregon Facilities Authority, if bonds are not rated by a rating agency, then they can only be sold to what are known as qualified institutional buyers, mainly like very large institutions, very large mutual funds. That's the only buyers of bonds that are available. And that's a restriction that's not in place for hospital facility authorities. So the universe of potential bondholders, lenders, is smaller if you use the Oregon Facilities Authority. Most of the hospital systems do use the Oregon Facilities Authority because all of their large, multi-billion-dollar institutions, they have ratings, and so they're not subject to that limitation.
Does the councilor have something? Councilor Smith?
Can you give me an example of other facilities like Mennonite Village, nonprofits in Oregon that have taken advantage of the Hospital Facility Authority in other communities?
Sure, there's a very active, most locally, Capitol Manor in Salem uses the Hospital Facility Authority of the city of Salem. Multnomah County has a hospital facility authority, and its main borrower on the senior living side is Terwilliger Plaza, which is sort of in the heart of downtown. Medford has a very active authority because Pacific Retirement Services, which is a national owner-operator of nonprofit senior living facilities, has its headquarters there. So Rogue Valley Manor is the primary facility in Medford that uses the Hospital Facility Authority of the city of Medford. So those are some examples.
And these are all construction projects and developments that have occurred since Albany used this the last time, I would imagine. I know Capitol Manor has been expanding and.
Yeah, it's a combination, a lot of new projects, also like refinancing of existing projects. Just like when you refinance your mortgage, if interest rates go down, you can do the same thing. If a senior facility, living facility borrows a lot of money and they can have interest rate savings, 5 years down the road, then they'll refund. But mainly it's new projects.
Clackamas County Hospital Facility Authority is very active as well with Mary's Woods and Rosevilla.
Councilor Van Dremelen, you have anything?
So once the hospital financing or hospital facility authority is established, what does the city actually do? Like, what's the lift for the city to then facilitate like that?
So at a meeting in January, if that's what happens, there will be several different actions. There will be a public hearing that's required under the tax code to be held by elected officials in the jurisdiction where a new project will be located. So that there's that part. And then as the city, you would adopt a resolution establishing the authority. And then if we do this all at one meeting, you would adjourn as the hospital facility authority and then reconvene as the hospital. You would adjourn as a city and reconvene as the hospital facility authority, and then take an action with respect to issuing the bonds. So after that meeting, there will be a few things to sign about a month or two later in connection with a closing. But the ongoing maintenance of a hospital facility authority is very light. There's almost nothing administratively that needs to get done. There's a bond trustee that does all that work. And then there's a lot of things that Diane and Mennonite Village will have to do, but there's not a lot for the authority or the city.
So there's not like an ongoing commitment of like city staff time or anything like that to the authority?
Correct.
Okay.
And the amount of staff time that's expended, like tonight or at the next meeting, you can choose, and it's often the case, to be reimbursed for that from Mennonite Village. So that's up to you, and different authorities in the states handle that differently.
Thank you.
Counselor Thompson, you have anything? Counselor McGee?
I do not.
Anything else, Counselor?
One more question, just to add on to what Councilor Van Drimmelen said. There's no either initial or ongoing expense that the city should expect to contribute.
That's correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
So I think this is the project you're working on. I look at the map, site map for Project Public Works. I think it's a wonderful thing that's happening there.
Thank you.
Our population is aging, less kids are being born, and people are living longer. I have firsthand knowledge of that. So I do appreciate the work you guys can be doing. So, City Attorney, do we have any issues? Can we bring them back in January? One other question, go ahead.
You said 24 new memory care.
Correct.
Is this in addition to Lydia's house or as a replacement for
It's
Lydia's?
as a replacement of
Same.
Lydia's house.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I will have the city recorder get a hold of you and get you on the calendar.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Number 6 on the agenda, public comment. Is it time for the Albany residents to speak and for the city council to listen? The council won't discuss topics or make decisions during the public comments, but will take the comments and requests under advisement. Speakers are to be limited to 3 minutes and must follow the rules rules and observe one of those days, council's rules and observe the same standards of decorum. If unable to do so, they will be asked to step down and take a seat for the rest of the meeting. When you get to the microphone, please state whether or not you live, give your name and state whether or not you live in the city of Albany. Written public comment was received from Cameron Settlemeyer, and it's on the dais, and Luis Valencia. Who's the first person? Right here. We received public comment from Ms. Cameron Settlemeyer. Is he on Zoom? Okay, thank you. Luis Valencia? Okay. No, we don't do that anymore.
Oh, okay.
So next on the agenda is action items. Ordinance, amend the Albany Municipal Code, AMC 18.14 to Building Board to sunset the Building Board of Appeals. Jonathan Belkema, page 21 through 26 in your packet.
Greeting, Mayor and Council. We spoke about this approximately 2 weeks ago, about sunsetting the Albany Board of Appeals, as we have not been.
I need to read my agenda thing for the ordinance. Next on tonight's agenda is a action item for amending Albany Municipal Code, AMC, I skipped one. 18.14, to sunset the Building Board of Appeals. Does the staff have a report?
Yes, thank you. Excuse me. We came forward a couple weeks ago to talk about the potential of sunsetting the Albany Board of Appeals, as we have not been using it, because back in 2022, we redirected a lot of the appeals process to the Oregon Building Codes Division, which has been successful. So currently have the ordinance and in front of you and the changes, and I'm here for any questions you might have.
Does the council have questions for staff? Councilor McGee?
Nope.
Thank you. Does the city council wish to discuss the ordinance? There's an ordinance for you to consider on pages 23 to 26 of the council packet. Would the city attorney please read the ordinance in title only?
An ordinance amending Albany Municipal Code, AMC, Title 18, Building Code Administration, relating to the appeals process for Title 18 matters, amending ordinance number 5969.
Is there a motion to read the ordinance a second time in title only?
I move to read the ordinance a second time in title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you.
Thank you.
An ordinance amending Albany Municipal Code, AMC, Title 18, Building Code Administration, relating to the appeals process for Title 18 matters, amending ordinance number 5969.
Is there a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Move to adopt the ordinance with one Scrivener's amendment. The word amending in the first line has too many M's in it. Beyond that, I would move to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you. The ordinance is passed. Where'd he go? He just bailed out. He just got his yes and said, I'm out of here. Next on tonight's agenda is action item for amending Albany Municipal Code 2.28 regarding the Community Development Commission. Does the staff have a report?
Thank you, Mayor and councilors. My name is Ann Catlin. I'm the Comprehensive Planning Manager in the Community Development Department, and I wanted to introduce Caitlin Martin, who I am very proud to say has been promoted to Development Programs Analyst for the city, and she will be the primary person overseeing the Community Development Block Grant programs moving forward, and is here to present our proposed amendment to the AMC tonight. Thank you.
Congratulations first.
Thank you. And good evening. We are here to present the proposed amendments to the Albany Municipal Code, Chapter 2.27, which governs the Community Development Commission. Our goal with these amendments is to improve efficiency, ensure broader community participation, and to strengthen the transparency of the work within the CDC. So the CDC is currently the city's largest citizen advisory group. It consists of 10 members. We are proposing to reduce this number to 9, which would lower the quorum requirement from 6 to 5, helping improve scheduling flexibility, as well as establishing an odd number of members for voting. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development does not require a specific commission makeup, and so to help reduce delays in filling vacancies, as well as expanding the pool of eligible applicants that can apply to be on the CDC, we are proposing a slightly less restrictive composition. We are also recommending to add term limits for commissioners, so they could be 3 consecutive 3-year terms, just to help encourage broader participation and to limit somebody sitting on the commission for an extended period of time. And finally, we are proposing to add a new section addressing conflict of interest requirements to ensure that commissioners are not associated with potential CDBG applicants. With that, we are happy to answer any questions, and we appreciate your consideration.
Does city council have any questions for staff?
Just a comment, it's sensible.
Thank you. Does the city council wish to discuss the ordinance?
Counselor Thompson's
Yeah.
raising
Oh,
his
I
hand.
didn't see his hand.
No, it's okay. I'm already on the discussion of the, or I didn't really have a question. It's more some thoughts. Agreed on the streamlining everything, but the conflict of interest idea, why merely being on an organization that may apply for a grant at some time, I think the conflict of interest is you recuse yourself from that application. I don't see I think it's an extreme step to say that you cannot be on this commission merely because you have some role in an organization that may or may not apply at some point. That's something for council to think about. I think, I couldn't serve on this. I'm a board member of Albany Partnership, and we applied last year, and we may apply in the future. I don't know, but it just seems excessive. And clearly, if the Albany Partnership did apply, I would have to stay away from any discussion of that application. That's one point. The second point, since this has come up, I have noticed this commission prior to getting on council. It doesn't conform with the other city advisory committees. The appointments are all done by the mayor, and I think that goes back from, there's requirements. I think it goes back from process, but it never got changed to the idea that a counselor has an appointment on this. I would propose to make it conform with the other advisory committees, an appointment by each of the council members, which would be 6, and then that would leave 3 by the mayor for a total of 9. And make it like all our other citizen advisory commissions.
I have a couple of questions about that.
Yeah. That's what I have.
Good.
Okay. To the first point, I agree with the conflict of interest portion of it. I understand what you're saying, but I believe it would be difficult for people who are, their organizations are competing for limited funds to completely divorce themselves from thinking about that during discussions, evaluating other organizational applications. I just don't think it can be done, despite good intentions. As to the membership of the commission, I remember when this was formed, I may be remembering it incorrectly, but it seems that the requirements for appointment, who appoints the members, comes from HUD, doesn't it? It doesn't. I thought that was something that was that they said it has to be appointed by the mayor.
No.
Oh.
There are no requirements for the composition or the appointments. I know there's definitely no requirements for the composition. So every city has different numbers of people and different representation. I mean, I remember doing a lot of research to see what other cities did. And I don't know if it was just the mayor at the time that lobbied for those to be mayor appointments. That's what, I think what I recollect, but
I remember
we
that as well.
are trying to have a commission that is reflective of interests within the city, and we currently do have one of the one of the commissioners is a city council liaison, another is a planning commissioner liaison, and then human relations commission liaison. And so you just would need to think about that if you were planning to make changes. And we did, as Caitlin noted, tried to streamline the composition of the other members so they're more at large. This might make it easier, excuse me, for the council to consider individual appointments, but we still do have 2 other slots that are representing either the business or financial industry, and then housing or sort of social services. Mm-hmm.
If I can go back to the conflict of interest issue, I forgot this earlier. Isn't there a similar restriction on the Tourism Advisory Commission?
I'm not familiar with that makeup.
I remember when that was formed, there was a lot of talk about who could serve and who couldn't, because some of them were representing organizations that would be competing for tourism dollars.
I will just say that it is a lot of staff time and work to provide documentation and evidence that disclosures were made and all that. We have to get approval from HUD's attorney when, even though there isn't a financial conflict of interest, but it's a lot of extra work on staff time. And so we thought it was important, at least for the commission, that it would just make it a lot easier. And as Commissioner Smith noted, I do think that there are challenges separating out the disclosure from maybe some decision making.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about what happens during a conflict of interest currently? Are members frequently recusing themselves?
I can actually answer that. So every year they have to sign a conflict of interest disclosure, which we then also posted online. But that person also, if they do have a conflict of interest, has to refrain from participation in several of the meetings, refrain from voting. And then our city attorney has to submit a legal opinion, as well as we have to submit documentation, meeting minutes, all sorts of stuff to HUD. And then we have to wait for HUD's attorney to evaluate all of that information, and then to get basically a conflict of interest waiver from their attorney before we can proceed with anything.
And how frequently does that occur?
Since I've been doing it, it's happened once.
I mean, it has happened before where there's had to be disclosures. It doesn't happen very often. It's been a while, but it did happen this past year with the commissioner, and then it has happened years past.
And it was a 2-month turnaround time, so it was quite a while.
It's a lot of work.
Okay. Thank you for that. And going back to Councillor Thompson's idea of who appoints the members, I like the idea of having other councillors appoint members. Can we get some idea of how that might be able to be played out?
Sure. I mean, you can propose whatever you want to, but of course, the at-large members would be very easy to be council appointments. Right now, there are currently 5 of them. If you would prefer to have 6 at-large members, we could look at.
There's 4.
Oh, there's 4 at-large members. I thought. Sorry, so I didn't bring up our composition. You have it all. It's up to you how you want to do that. We do have a few slots that do need specific representation, as you can see in your packet. So again, I mentioned the members on the other commissions, and then we have the economic development and financial industry representation, and then housing and social service agency representation. Since there are no specific requirements on the composition from HUD, you can determine any number of at-large members or what you want to do that might make it easier for counselors to make appointments.
I'd be interested in entertaining ideas around that.
So you're asking for, maybe another counselor has some recommendations, and I mean, if we need to, we can bring this back, but we were trying to get input and ideally make the changes so that it would go into effect next year, and as the recruitment process is underway for members right now for vacancies.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
may I suggest that one of the options you have is to let us do a little bit of research as to why it's set up the way it is. We did go through about 6 or 7 years ago a revamping of all the
Before I
citizen
came on.
advisory groups.
But not this.
And at the time, the council at the time had it in this form. So what I would like to do is go back and figure out if there was any specific reasons why they did that.
You want to bring this back in January?
I have one
Yes,
final
Thank you.
comment.
Yes. Who's that?
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. Please come back, and I would, with the 9 total, my thinking was a 6 and 3. Perhaps this could be one commission where you emphasize to the folks appointing, we need this kind of arrangement. You know, I'm not against, there's a member of Human Relations on there. You know, I don't know how this could work out, but there's got to be a way. You know, planning has some definite requirements, I believe. So I think there's a way to do this that makes this commission like our other commissions.
We'll bring it back in January.
Yes, we can do that. Thank you.
My other comment was that I like the idea of the odd number of members. That makes a lot of practical sense.
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
And I like the term limits.
Yes.
Thank you, Councilor McGee.
Justice.
So we're gonna bring that back sometime, probably the second meeting in January or the first meeting? And first or second meeting?
We'll get it on the calendar. And
Okay.
You'll see.
Thank you. Item ordinances. We have item C is a resolution exempt the competitive bidding. No, we didn't pass that ordinance. Yes, we did. Resolution, item C would be exemption from the competitive bidding of purchases of stormwater and natural treatment systems or office space and crew building not exceed $325,740. Craig Prosser will be presenting pages 32 to 34 in your packet.
Good evening, Mayor, councilors. You have before you tonight a memo and resolution requesting approval for exemption from competitive bidding through the cooperative agreement at Sourcewell for a modular crew building and facilities. Over the last 5 years, the stormwater program has seen significant increase in staffing and needs, operational needs. We started out with a part-time staff member 5 years ago, and now we have 5 FTEs. So over those 5 years, we've had to commandeer office space in different conference rooms and such, and they're spread out throughout the campus. So we're trying to bring them all together for natural treatment and stormwater, so they have a facility of their own and be able to be a cohesive unit. We have looked at other options besides the modular. Our current crew building is at capacity, and we'd have to add brick and mortar for that. We don't have the room for that on campus. So in the past, there has been a modular building out there for engineering and water departments. So we're doing what we did before, but instead of renting it, we'd like to purchase it through this cooperative agreement. So with that, I could take any questions.
Council, any questions?
I have a
Councilor
question.
Smith?
Where will it be?
Behind the mechanics building, Building B,
Okay.
right in the curve, basically on the way to the stormwater, or to the Talking Water Gardens.
Okay, thank you.
Another counselor? Councilor McLeod?
Thank you. And can you explain why this needs to be an exemption from competitive bidding?
It saves the city a tremendous amount of money. During the research, I was looking at different modulars, and they ranged up to $500,000. The exemption from competitive bidding is an overall national contract for the lowest bidder of modular buildings, and it eliminates 3 to 5 bids that range from $325,000 to $500,000. So it all depends. I mean, it's a most efficient way for city staff time and funds to get the same product that different vendors have different pricing for.
Can I, Mr. Mayor, may I add to that, that the competition has happened. It's a cooperative purchasing agency, which the purpose of that agency is to provide an option for state and local agencies to buy at scale. Like, we couldn't buy things at scale ourselves, but when you use this cooperative purchasing agency, you can get something that's been through a competitive process and that the per unit cost is much less.
Thank you for that explanation.
Very well said. Thank you,
Councilor
Peter.
Van Dremelen? Councilor Thompson? Councilor McGee?
I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you. There's a motion
I'll move to pass the resolution on page 34 of the packet.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you, council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item D, resolution granting power easement as part of MS-25-02, Albany Shrub Hub Greenhouse and Cooler, Carl Berg. Items pages 35 to 42 in your packet.
Good evening, I'm not Carl.
I didn't see you walking up, sorry, but, so, Stacy Belcastro.
Good evening, Mayor, councilors. This is a request that council approve a resolution that would authorize granting an easement to Pacific Corp. This is to provide service to the greenhouse and cold storage that will be constructed as part of the Shrub Hub Greenhouse project. The cost for the project is almost 100% going to be covered by a grant that the city applied for and received from the Department of Land Conservation Community Green Infrastructure Program. This grant amount is $115,000 approximately, and we expect the project to come in very close to that amount. And if council has any questions, I could answer them.
So is that a city project?
It is, yes.
Okay, I'm just shrub, I've never heard that term before. Anybody else heard that term?
What, Shrub Hub? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they came before us.
Yes,
That's
they
one of my
did.
favorite
They did.
It's a
come
great
before us
program. It's a great
recently.
program.
That's where we grow the
Yeah,
native
yes.
plants for all the
Yes.
swales and.
I'm just brain fog right now.
Yep.
Council,
It's a
any
catchy name.
questions? Any comments? Councilor Ron Drumlin?
I move to adopt the resolution granting the Pacific Power easement.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you. Thank you, council. Adopt by motion, East Albany Town Center proposed development agreement. Matthew Ruckers, Director Ruckers, page 43 to 54 in your packet.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here for you tonight to talk about, very briefly, East Albany Town Center Development Agreement. So back in June of 2025, or of this year, sorry, the council authorized the initiation of annexation of the East Albany Town Center properties. Along with that, during that meeting, the council also authorized staff to begin working on a draft development agreement with the East Albany Town Center development team. We've completed that draft agreement with work from obviously, with work from community development staff, public works staff, city attorney, as well as the East Albany team that captures all of the things that the city is going to be doing, including the annexation process that we've already started, as well as what the East Albany Town Center team's responsibilities are. That agreement is attached in your packet, pages 45 through 54. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about that. We're here tonight in hopes that council will authorize city manager to enter into that agreement.
Council, any questions?
Do you know if they still plan to put a sports ball court in the middle of all of these townhomes and apartments?
So the way this works, this initial step that council has took is for annexation and application of zoning. We won't know the actual, obviously they gave us some really great conceptual drawings, and those are just that, they're conceptual. Until we get to the actual land use applications for the development itself, we won't know those amenities. Obviously, as we look at our development code, there are certain amenities that are required as part of multi-use development. So that's when we'll be able to find that out. But obviously the conceptual drawings they provided that may show that are just conceptual.
I appreciate that response, thank you. As I stated at a previous meeting, I once lived very close to a public basketball court, and that would wake me up in the middle of the night. So, thank you.
So pickleball courts at night, drive people crazy. So council?
Yeah, I have, I've been meaning to just ask you on the side, how many housing units does the city of Albany produce in a year lately?
Generally, when we talk about, it's an interesting question because it's tough. It depends on whether we're talking about permitted units, issued of occupancy, but generally, a good number to function off of is about 150 to 170. It fluctuates, obviously, depending on market conditions, but we've seen it drop down to 100 and go all the way up to, like, say, 170, but a good average is about 150. And that includes not only just single-family homes that you consider, but also apartment units.
Yeah, I don't want to just think of, in terms of single family. This is, in terms of units and their material here, they're talking about 1,000 units. I guess that's bedrooms. This is a significant project. We talk a lot about housing. I just wanted to thank you for giving me, like, put it in my head. And I have a question, and actually this is for the folks at Affordable Housing, probably can answer this better than you can, because in their material, they talk about affordable housing without subsidies, which, my notion of affordable housing, the people in that space, Develop Northwest, everybody, I don't know how you can do truly affordable housing as, like, defined by 60% of the median income. I think that's what the farm, so we're gonna have a item coming up is from the farm worker housing folks. And I think that's how they define their project. And so I'm curious how, how you make quote unquote affordable housing without subsidies.
Yeah, and the East Albany Town Center folks are here if we wanted to, if they wanted to come up and answer, but just in general, when we think about affordable housing, there's two different ways that I kind of describe it as. One is big A affordable, and that's usually your generally subsidized housing that's deed restricted. So it's restricted for a large number of years, 30, sometimes 60 years at that affordable level. And then there's the kind of little A affordable, which we look at as you have a developer that's really focused in on providing a product that would be considered affordable, similar to what we set out to do with our housing affordability task force. That wasn't looking just at that kind of all subsidized, deed restricted housing. That was looking at affordability across all different ranges. Yeah. And I hope that kind of answers the question there.
Yeah, it does. I think it'd be more accurate. This is an attempt at diversity of housing, diversity of options, which, logically, I can understand the argument that would maybe lead to less affordable, but I don't want to. I'm getting off questions now. I'm more talking about the item before us, so I can wait till.
So, Council, what I recommend is set up a meeting and let them talk to them about it. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Well, Council, any other comments, Councilor McGee?
Nope.
So we have a resolution or motion on page 43 to 54.
I would move to adopt the resolution.
I second.
A motion and the second has been approved, has been given. Please, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I want to speak to the motion before we vote.
Quick, can I interject really quick?
Yeah.
There's not an actual resolution.
Well, it's a motion.
It's just a motion authorizing
Okay.
staff, so it's.
Staff
Yeah.
to authorize the city manager to enter.
So adopt by motion. Go ahead.
I just can't support, like I said, this significant, high density, 25 units an acre. That's close to high density process when we have a budget outlook, or until we get a budget outlook that says, looking forward, the revenues coming in can meet our service needs without raising taxes. It was only a few months ago, and I felt very quickly this council raised the city service fee, and we know we can't just keep raising the city service fee, and this kind of high density doesn't pay for itself. And, ironically, just the other day, we had a meeting with the Greater Albany School Board, and we realized the pool that we shared, it has $6 million worth of work that needs to be done at some point in the future. Just one of many. I could go down the list of the needs that we have. And, well, roads, for example, which we're going to talk about later. So for all those reasons, I just think, and it doesn't, I've said before, it's a change in the kind of Albany that I know, that I think my neighbors understand. So with all that, I'm going to vote no on this.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I move to authorize the city manager to enter into the development agreement for East Albany Town Center as stated in the packet.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
No.
Thank you, motion passes.
Thank you, Council and Mayor.
Adopt by motion, Oregon Housing Infrastructure Finance Program Grant Application. Ann Catlin, pages 55 to 58 in your packet.
Thank you. Good evening again. We are here tonight to request council support in an application to the Oregon Business Development Department for a new pot of money that is specifically designed for public infrastructure improvements. It's the Oregon Infrastructure Finance Program, and we would be partnering with Farm Worker Housing Development Corporation to help secure some funding for the public infrastructure associated with their second phase of the project that they're working on Spicer Road. And the project would involve constructing Goldfish Farm Road all the way from its current location to Spicer Road, and actually would include half-street improvements on Spicer Road, extending sewer and stormwater facilities and storm. And these projects are very expensive, and having city support really helps the agency secure state funding that's needed in order to get the housing development funded. So just to get into that a little bit, the Farm Worker Housing Development Corporation is constructing what is truly a publicly supported affordable housing development. The current phase is under construction. It's 54 units, and the second phase would be 102 units, and these would all be affordable to households earning 60% or below median income, and would be long-term affordable units. Anyway, it would be a pass-through grant, and the grant application does require that we enter into a partnership agreement, and I'm here tonight to ask for your support and authorization for the city manager to enter into this partnership agreement. We would come back to you if we are successful getting the grant, because the grant does, to accept the grant and enter a contract with the state, we do need a resolution at that time. But we would be applying for $2 million, and it would be a grant, and it would provide funding to construct a needed facility in our East Albany plan that will create an important connection in the city. Any questions?
Questions?
Do we have any direct expenses related to this?
No.
I move that the city support this grant application and authorize the city manager to enter into a partnership agreement with FHDC.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you, councilors. All those opposed say no. Thank you. Motion passes. Adopt by motion, discussion and adoption of 2026 City Council Annual Meeting Schedule. City Recorder Eric Glover, pages 59 to 62 in your packet.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In front of you tonight is a request to set the annual meeting calendar for 2026. The City of Albany Charter requires a minimum of 2 meetings per month. In 2023, a 6-week meeting break was held over the summer months, but in 2025, departments indicated that was causing some issues for their operations and members of the public. So we switched over to 2 smaller breaks that are 4 weeks in length. Historically, the pre-holiday meetings each year, also for the last several years, have been canceled due to a lack of business. This leaves the second and fourth Monday and Wednesday, typically for a total of 4 per month. Joint and special meetings are additional. In addition, we recognize 10 federal holidays. On these holidays, City Hall and many other city facilities are closed. In previous council meetings of this topic, there was discussion about reviewing calendars of the Jewish high holidays. During the layout of this annual meeting schedule, staff referred to calendars of work-restricted holidays of the Jewish religion, and 2 modifications are proposed. Those would be to cancel the April 8th, 2026 meeting and the September 21st, 2026 work session that leaves a minimum of 2 meetings per month. In addition, we are proposing to cancel the second work session and second regular council meeting in July. This would provide a 4-week break in the summer. For the winter schedule, we are proposing to adjust the meeting schedule in November 2026 to the first and third Monday and Wednesday. This alleviates a meeting set occurring with a federal holiday in the middle. Additionally, this requires moving up the October 26 meetings 1 week to avoid complications for staff and council to have back-to-back council weeks. Outside of that, if we have any urgent items of business with the schedule being approved, we'll obviously make all the required notifications and work to get those meetings scheduled. Thank you.
Thank you. Does this mean I can bring cupcakes on my birthday?
Cupcakes are always good to go.
Okay, thank you, because my birthday's on the agenda, apparently.
And so is mine. So is mine. So council, what do you think?
I like having all 12 months on one page.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that before, and so thank you for that.
Yeah, that was a new thing this year, but I'm glad you like it, so we'll continue to do that in the future. Thank you.
I do appreciate the calendar, but I'll take comments from councilors. You have anything? Councilor McGee, you have anything?
No, I was just looking at my birthday too. Well, me and Stephanie's is on the 26th of
Okay.
January. We're too.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I move to adopt the 2026 meeting calendar as presented on page 62.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 7, briefings and staff reports. A street maintenance discussion, Stacy Belcastro, page 63 to 66 in your packet.
I do have a presentation to share, so I will get that up. Wow, I think that's the quickest I ever got one up and running. Maybe that's a good sign. So good evening again, Mayor and councilors. We have been working with council over the past 2 years to discuss the pavement condition of Albany streets. These discussions have focused on sharing pavement condition data for all city streets, categorized by their functional classification, using the Pavement Condition Index, or PCI, reviewing current funding available for street maintenance and repair, and then also identifying the funding gap between what's available to maintain Albany streets and what's needed to meet the level of service that council has set as a goal. Most recently, at the council meeting in September, council provided direction on several key points. You asked staff to analyze the revenue potential of both a 5 and 7.5 cent per gallon local fuel tax, and to assess what level of pavement maintenance could be supported by each of these. There was general agreement that the goal should be to look at placing a local gas tax on the ballot in November 2026. And then finally, council agreed that the proposed local fuel tax should not include a sunset clause, meaning it would remain in place unless a future council decided to end it. Results from the focus groups and community outreach that we have completed during the past 2 years all identify that street condition is a top of mind issue in Albany. In all of the community surveys, street condition ranks as the worst city service that we provide. We are not proud to share this, but we need to be transparent. It is second to homelessness as the highest priority for our citizens. Residents are well aware that the older roads classified as local streets in Albany, that a good majority of them are in poor shape. We've had community members describe that they feel like driving on some of our local streets is like offloading, and they worry about damaging their vehicles. However, almost everybody without fail is just not aware of how street maintenance is funded in Albany. Most people believe that their property taxes pay for street maintenance, and in fact, $0 go towards into the transportation fund to pay for street maintenance. Following the September meeting, staff completed a request for proposal to hire a marketing consultant. The purpose for this is to help develop clear, factual messaging about Albany's street needs and the funding that's available to maintain them. The work effort that will be completed by this consultant will comply with the Oregon revised statutes on outlining the restrictions on political advocacy by public employees. The work will include coordination of several community meetings to engage with the public and get feedback, developing materials that provide factual information that can be shared by staff, counselors, or other interested people to raise awareness in the community and build trust. We received proposals yesterday and had a great response. We received proposals from 7 consultants, and I think all but one are from the Northwest. The majority are from Oregon. I guess conversely, we have 7 proposals now that we have to review, but we're going to start working our way through them and do hope to have a contract in place with the public relations consultant by the end of the year so we can get started on developing the community engagement and outreach task. All right, so I wanted to just do a quick review of the Pavement Condition Index, or PCI, because I'm gonna show you some data in the next few slides. So PCI is used nationally to rate pavement on a scale from 0 to 100. 100 is a brand new street, and 0 is a street that has completely failed. The Oregon Department of Transportation uses the good, fair, poor classification system with the PCI ranges that are shown on this slide. We also share our information this way. We are required to report our data on streets to the ODOT. This is a requirement of the 2017 Keep Oregon Moving House Bill, so that's why we always share the data this way with council. So the PCI for every paved street in Albany is uploaded into Street Saver, which is the city's pavement management software. Street Saver helps us assess pavement condition, prioritize investments, and then model different maintenance strategies. The last full inspection that was completed on Albany streets was in 2021. And while this software program does age the pavements, we wanted to make sure that we had new accurate data moving forward with the community outreach and engagement, and then also in developing our pavement management strategy. So this fall, we went ahead and completed a full visual inspection of all Albany's streets, and the new updated PCI values have been uploaded into StreetSaver. So the table on this slide compares the data we provided council using the 2021 inspection and then the updated data from the 2025 inspection. I will provide this slide deck to Eric to share with council after the meeting. These next few slides are going to just look at the comparisons of each street by classification. So for arterial streets, you can see that there really isn't much change to note. Good news is we have 2 miles of arterial streets, two additional miles of arterial streets in good condition. This is due to the pavement projects completed recently on Queen Avenue, Salem Avenue, and North Albany Road. The total mileage of arterials in the system, it's pretty flat. I think it increased by 0.3 miles, so it stayed pretty flat. Collector streets also saw minimal change. Here I want to just note that arterial and collector streets are overall in good condition, and I think we do hear from community members that the streets that are traveled by the most people in most part are in okay condition. This is intentional, so there is more funding available for streets that fall under these 2 classifications, and council's direction has been to focus available funding on these streets. They're the streets that are used by the most people in our community. So there was a slight increase to local streets in good condition. This is all due to new construction because we have not had any money to rehabilitate our local streets. The local streets in poor condition increased by 11 miles. Local streets in fair condition fell by almost 4 miles. I think that is because those moved into the poor category. This trend is expected. We know because current funding is primarily directed towards arterial and collectors. Over time, these local roads that are in good condition are going to move to fair, and then those in fair will move to poor. Evaluating PCI using StreetSaver doesn't replace fieldwork and engineering, but it is a tool that we use to track the pavement condition over time, identify trends, and test pavement strategy scenarios. So we have begun to test pavement strategy scenarios in StreetSaver with this new data alongside the gas tax scenarios that council asked us to look at. This is still a work in progress, but we wanted to share preliminary information with council tonight just to show what this could look like to local streets in our community. This map shows 8.2 miles of local streets in bold red lines that could be improved over the next 10 years if voters approved a 5-cent per gallon local fuel tax. This scenario also includes a small portion, about $300,000 of the additional revenue that Albany would receive if the state's transportation funding bill, this is House Bill 3991, is implemented. This scenario uses a worst first approach. So this means that we're focusing money on the residential streets that are in the poorest condition. Key assumptions include that the existing sidewalks, curbs, and gutter are in adequate shape and they don't need to be replaced. We will be replacing curb ramps so that they are compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And then to stretch funding, we are proposing to use a cost-effective pavement design. So the current design for local streets is that we place 5 inches of asphalt over 12 inches of compacted rock. Instead of this full reconstruction, we would grind off the old pavement and install a 3-inch asphalt layer. This cost-effective design is about 1/3 of the cost of a full street reconstruction. We have had success using it to fix residential streets over the past, 10 or 20 years. This is used primarily in conjunction with water or sewer projects. However, again, this is a very high-level look, and for each street, staff has to actually get boots on the ground. Of course, if there are local streets near schools or businesses, they may need thicker asphalt for durability due to increased traffic. And here is a map that shows 11.4 miles of local streets, again in bold red, that could be improved over the next 10 years with a 7.5 cent per gallon fuel tax. Same cost-saving strategy and assumptions apply. The only difference is that with more funding, we can repair an additional 3.2 miles of residential streets over the 10-year period. And then I did want to highlight some of the work that our operations division does. So operations is a part of our pavement management strategy. In addition to the large capital projects, our city street crew is tackling smaller pavement repairs in-house. This is thanks to the new paver and milling machine that was purchased recently. These projects focus on short sections where we receive frequent complaints and or the asphalt is in just really poor condition. However, this work does take a lot of staff and has to be balanced with other maintenance tasks and available funding. The photos on this slide show the recent successful repairs that our street crew completed on Industrial Way and then also on 3rd Avenue, which I think is just west of the roundabout. Still bumpy. I mean, the roads are getting just a thin layer of asphalt, but it's not going to, completely improve the rideability. Yeah. All right. I mentioned House Bill 3991. So staff has been closely tracking this bill due to its potential impact on local transportation funding. This is the transportation funding package passed during this year's special legislative session. It's scheduled to take effect on December 31st. Key components of the bill include a charge for electric vehicles, increases to title and registration fees, an increase to payroll tax, the transit payroll tax, and a 6-cent increase to the state gas tax, increasing it from 40 cents per gallon to 46 cents per gallon. What does this mean? Well, cities are expected to receive 25 to 30% more in state highway funds as a result. And for Albany, that would be an additional $1.4 million annually when the bill is fully implemented. However, and I stress however, there are petitioners challenging the bill, and they've indicated that they've gathered over double the required signatures that are needed to refer it to the voters. If these signatures are verified, then implementation of this bill will be paused, and it will be decided by the voters likely November 2026, which is the same election that council is considering for the local gas tax. So this is a complication, which is why we will be closely monitoring this and checking in with council. So in conclusion, we'll continue monitoring developments with House Bill 3991. Once we are under contract with the public relations consultant, we will begin efforts for the outreach and education and engagement. And then staff is going to continue developing the pavement management strategy. All materials from tonight's presentation and those completed over the past 2 years are available on the city's website at albanyoregon.gov/streets. And also I want to note that with the memo in tonight's packet, attachment 1 is a high-level summary of the meetings that we've held the past 2 years if you're looking for a specific topic.
Council? Council?
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation again. I know there have been many on this topic. And I heard you say tonight, and I've heard you say in the past, that PCI of 0 is a complete failure of the road. I was hoping you could give us a clearer picture of what that actually looks like to someone standing on that road. Can you describe for us what that might look, feel, and be if you were standing there or driving over it in person?
It's going to be very bumpy. There's going to be potholes. You would be able to pick up the asphalt or kick it. It's basically falling apart and turning into like a gravel road.
Thank you.
Devin was like that, yeah. Council, any other comments? Go ahead, please.
I just had a quick question about some of the HB 3991 items that you just presented. So assuming that that gets implemented, the 2029 $1.4 million figure, that's an annual figure?
Yes.
Okay. So, and then I remember from previous discussions with funding from the state for transportation that we can't use that on local streets. Would that still be the case? Am I misunderstanding that?
We can use the state highway fund on local streets. There are other funding sources that are restricted to arterials and collectors, like the state surface transportation block grant funds.
That's probably what I'm thinking of then. Okay, so that money, again, assuming that that gets implemented, would be eligible to be spent on local streets, should that amount be sufficient to get us out to the local streets, all other things being equal. But okay, cool, thank you.
That's gonna make a lot of people happy, that some of the local streets. Now, you're gonna get pressure, I'm sure, from people that want their streets done first. So please come up with a fair methodology for doing that. I appreciate that. Councilor Smith? Councilor Thompson? Councilor McGee?
On that note, though, I do like the worst first strategy, though.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. With that, thank you very much for your presentation. Great work. Is business from the council. I'm going to start with Councilor McGee first.
Okay, I have a couple of things. First, I wanted to mention that the Christmas Parlor Tour is this Sunday, December 14th from 2 to 7 p.m. You can still buy tickets at the monteithhouse.org if you plan to go. And there's also a day of tour at the Albany's Visitor Association. I think we can get it.
What was that?
What'd you say?
I missed what you said.
I said that you can still buy tickets at monteith.org. And also the day of the tour, you can go to the Albany's Visitor Association to get them.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, I wanted to know the update on Talking Waters Garden. I don't know if Peter will have that in his report, but I wanted to, was there an update regarding that?
The report on Talking Water Gardens?
No, we don't have a report on
There's nothing
Talking Water
else?
Gardens
Okay.
this evening.
Okay, and then the last thing was I received an email from a constituent regarding some, I guess, activity by their house on 12th, and it's actually in Ward 2. It's on between 12th and 13th Southeast on Lafayette. It's by the Boys and Girls Club. Apparently, there's some sort of house that's running I guess, an auto repair business out of the home, but it's not a legit business. And they are concerned about the traffic and and I quote, sketchy characters that they see around the area.
Is that it,
Councilor McGee, if you would have your constituent contact the code enforcement staff at the city or anywhere in the city manager's office for that matter, we'll point them in the right direction.
Okay. And then we received the email regarding a potential, I guess, peace march for Dr. King's birthday. It's Jason Dorsett working in conjunction with Albany Police Department with Marshall Harden regarding trying to get, I guess, like sponsorships or an event. I just wanted to bring that to the council's attention. That's all I have.
Thank you. Counselor Thompson?
Yes, thank you. Since we last met, I think we all attended the tree lighting at the awesome tree they got downtown. Just a great job with the Downtown Association, the folks who kind of made it a project to get the best tree possible. And also, this weekend, the Twice Around Parade, I got the chance to ride with the folks from the Albany Civic Theater, and it was a great chance to enjoy that parade from that vantage point. So it's Christmas time. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor McLeod?
Thank you. I also attended the tree lighting downtown, as well as the downtown Twice Around Parade. For the parade, I had the honor of marching with the Girl Scouts in the parade. I marched with my daughter and the rest of her troop in the service unit. It was great. I wore a sweater that I made that looked like a wreath when I put my arms over my head. And I probably shouldn't have done that because I ended up marching the entire parade with my hands above my head. But it was worth it. It was worth it for the community and for the Girl Scouts. Tomorrow I will be taking part in the Albany Community Cleanup and Recycling event hosted by Solve in partnership with the Oregon Beverage Recycling Cooperative. It's a litter cleanup event that we received information about. I'm looking forward to that litter cleanup tomorrow. And lastly, I received lots of communication from constituents about ICE activity in Albany, as well as flock camera usage. And I had a long talk with the city manager about that, and I understand that he has some information for us. So I will wait for his report on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Van Dremelen?
Also received similar feedback, looking forward to hearing from the city manager's report. No other business, though.
Counselor Smith?
Oops, I also participated in the parade. The float that I was supposed to be on never showed up. It was the only entry in the parade that didn't show up. And I don't know why, but I lucked out because I got to ride with Doug Hiddleston in the van promoting the Albany Toy Run. And Mr. Hiddleston was a charming host, and we had a great time. I also want to report that regarding ICE activity, I attended a webinar last Thursday sponsored by the League of Oregon Cities Women's Caucus with Hillsborough Mayor Beach Pace as the speaker. And she was supposed to talk about her background and her leadership in Hillsborough, but a lot of that has been taken up with ICE activities there that have been pretty well publicized. Hillsborough's website has a remarkable amount of information about how they're addressing the problem there with recommendations for what ordinary people can do to help. So I would direct you to the City of Hillsborough's website and just type in immigration resources. You'll find it all there. It's very good stuff. And Mayor Pace is a good person to talk to about that topic, at least as it works in a big city. The state laws and federal laws are the same everywhere. Deerfield Park's path paved path and the soft trail are now open to the public. Use them if you dare. The grass is really soggy. But May, my dog, and I have been on the paved path a number of times. It's delightful. The potential for that park is still so great, and it's just changing almost every day. I love it. Thank you very much. It's not just my park, it's for everybody. I need to find a person to appoint to the Planning Commission who lives in Ward 3. So I'm broadcasting this out to the world. I'm going to be posting it everywhere I can think of. I need somebody who wants to be a planning commissioner and represent that ward. So see me, email me, call me, fill out an application online, make my day. The one other thing that I have to say is that a reminder that the Homeless Memorial ceremony is Friday, December 19th, 5:30 p.m. at Second Chance Shelter, 1100 Jackson Street. Mayor Johnson will be participating, and we have unfortunately added another name to the list of the departed for this year with the identification of the body in the river at Hyack Park. So I would encourage people to come. It doesn't last very long, but it means a lot.
Very solemn ceremony.
Yeah.
What's the time again?
5:30 p.m., Friday the 19th. I'm finished.
So, thank you, councilors, for your reports. I attended with Sophie Adams South Willamette Valley Innovation Corridor, presented by President Murphy. It really talked about the development of centers of excellence and innovation in the Willamette Valley, Eugene, Salem, and Corvallis. And one of the things that I offered the conversation, I said, well, there'll be affordable housing for those people to come to Albany. So we'll definitely welcome those folks to Albany. But it was a great thing, so look it up. SWVIC is a really interesting project or concept. And I think the city of Albany could reap benefits from it because they'll be building buildings and factories and stuff like that out of this innovation center. The Christmas tree lighting was amazing. That tree was stunning, and I was mentioning last year that a young lady asked me, Mayor, is our tree sick? I said, no, it's in a diet. It's going to be just fine. But this tree was well-fed, beautiful tree. I've been sharing the pictures all over the place. So well done, Downtown Association. The February Mayor Contest has started. So I'm getting phone calls from teachers to come out and talk to their kids about the contest. I'm pretty excited about it. And this is my happy space. I come back from the holidays and go talk to a bunch of super smart young people. So I'm looking forward to the entries coming in and working with Matt and Kinsey on getting the word out. This is the season of scams. Several of my clients, and I'm sorry about doing this, but older people are being scammed or attempted to be scammed. So be careful, be mindful. If your in-laws reach out, parents reach out, please advise them to be careful of certain calls. If they don't recognize the number, don't answer it. You know, I've had two people scammed already this week, so please be careful. Oh, and I had Eric send out a thing called First Story. Did you guys get a chance to take a look at that? First Story is a Hayden Homes. We work with Hayden Homes, and they find people that can afford a payment, but they help them get their first home. I've given out 3 homes already. I've handed the keys to young families for 3 homes already, and the process is beginning soon. So take a look at that. If you know anybody that would qualify, please have them apply and go through the process. It's a great process. And with that, I'll turn it over to the city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, one more thing. So luckily, my wife was at work, and she looked out the window, and his tractor and trailer was trying to turn onto Water Avenue. Swung too wide and went up on the railroad tracks on Water Avenue. And so I got some videos. If you'd like to see them, I'll send them to you. City manager, it's all you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I have 2 issues this evening to talk to you about, as alluded to earlier. The first one is about ICE activity in Albany in the past, and then what we might expect in the future. And the second one is about license plate readers. And while I ask Chief Harnden to come up to answer some questions or provide some information along with Captain Jerry Drum, I'd like to ask you to keep these issues separate in your mind. The question of ICE activity, I sent you an email this afternoon in which I provided some attachments and some information. The issue of ICE activity is one thing, and it's probably, as much as we don't like to hear what we hear, it's probably the simpler one, and it's a pretty quick response. The license plate readers, that's something that's more complex. Part of what I sent you this afternoon was a letter from the Oakland branch of the NAACP, which notes that license plate readers have a real and measurable impact on reducing bias in policing and supporting safer and fairer policing. So I'd like you to keep those things in mind as we hear from Chief Harnden and Jerry Drum.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll take the subject of ICE first. I'm going to be very honest with you that we don't hear from them. They don't call us when they're intending to operate in our area. That is a concern to most chiefs and sheriffs in the state. We've asked that we at least get a courtesy notification, particularly with some of their lack of identification and things like that. But I think they know where we are very clearly on what side of state law on this issue. They're not sharing that information with us. And sometimes when they are in town, it takes quite a bit to even confirm that they were here, which I will do. I generally hear about it through community contacts. And in one case, I got a call from the superintendent who was concerned that they were near a school. Turns out they were not at any of the schools, but near a school. In past practice with our federal partners, FBI, HSI, which is a division of Homeland Security, but it's not the same as immigration enforcement, they're really good about telling us when they're here. There's a concept called blue on blue, where if there's a disturbance or something going on and guns are out from law enforcement and we don't deconflict information with each other, there's a real safety to the individual law enforcement agency. So that drives a lot of that, plus a professional courtesy of, hey, we don't want to get involved in it, but just let us know we're here just in case something comes up and we have to respond to it. I've answered a lot of questions over the last 12 months or so from the community about what we will and will not do. The law in Oregon is very, very clear on the subject that if federal authorities are in town for the sole purpose of immigration enforcement, my people will not get involved in it per state law. If they're there and a disturbance breaks out, or there's another crime committed where police have to stabilize it, we will get involved, stabilize the situation, make sure everybody's going their separate ways, doing what they should be without any further risk to the public. We will do that. And then on occasion, very limited occasion, there'll be a criminal overlap. And that's where the law in Oregon allows us to intersect with immigration authorities. If there's a criminal act on top of the immigration issue or in conjunction with a criminal issue, then we will get involved in that. And where that can intersect in the past, prior to 2025, is when we serve a warrant for narcotics, marijuana grow operation. A lot of times they'll use migrant workers that are maybe undocumented as part of human trafficking or labor trafficking, and will involve immigration in those purposes. So we're only aware of 2 instances in Albany, both of which we were able to verify that were official actions of immigration enforcement. If you had paid attention, the city of Lebanon put out a news release about federal authorities in their jurisdiction. That was a child pornography or child exploitation investigation by HSI. So that group is really good about communicating with us. Again, it is a concern with chiefs and sheriffs. I'm also the president of our Oregon Chiefs Association, so it's a discussion every single day. So on that issue, that's what happens there. If I'm made aware of an incident, Peter, our city manager, is notified of that. And so I want him to make sure that he is aware, and also we have some community members that we have trusted relationships with, that we try to quell rumors and get through what is fact and what is fiction and try to kind of calm everybody down. So I can take any questions on the immigration issue from you.
Couple things, thank
Yeah.
you. First, I would like to make a request that if when you are made aware of immigration activity in Albany and you alert the city manager, that every member of the council also be notified when that happens, just so we can
Be aware.
be aware, thank you. Be aware and bear witness to what's happening in our city, because we really need to know when these things happen. Would that be able to happen?
Yeah, certainly. I'm really quick to notify Peter, and I'm
When
sure
it-
he's the conduit for that.
When it does happen, I will, not just this, but if there's a major accident or some kind of a other major criminal incident, I will call the mayor and let him know that. We can certainly put it into an email or something else later, but you can appreciate that to call 7 people on that, that would take some time. So
Just
it's
an email
the
is
practice
fine.
to just send it to the mayor.
And email the rest of it.
Yeah.
Just an email is fine. I just want all of us here at the dais to know when that happens, so that if we receive questions from constituents, we can confirm that this is what happened, just factual information. And my next question is, how do members of our community differentiate between ICE activity and people just being kidnapped off the streets?
That's true.
What does the average person on the street need to know in order to not want to take down someone who looks like they're kidnapping a member of our community?
Sure. Well, I would never recommend that a citizen get involved in a physical altercation that they don't know the circumstances of. I don't think that's a safe thing to do. If you're unsure of what you're seeing and the reason for it, I would call 911. Even if we may not have the advance notice, and I can pretty much guarantee you we're not, if it's ICE or immigration work, we're going to get there and try to sort it out. That happened in the city of Corvallis. I think we've read that story. So we will do our best to try to determine that. In one of the incidents here in town, there was a detention here in town, and there was some, whatever issue with people involved in that detention, they end up coming to the police department because they thought they were being followed by community members. And so that's an area where we're gonna try to kind of calm things down and figure out who is who and what's going on, just to make sure nobody gets hurt, mostly. But beyond that, if they're here and their federal authorities acting within their authority, whether it is up for debate or not, we're not gonna get involved in it per state law, unless there's an overlapping crime or we need to calm a disturbance.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Comment. This has been on my mind for a long time. And I just wanted to remind people who might be watching this meeting and who might be in the room of our value statements that guide all of the city employees and the council in our official capacities. The final one on the list is called a humane and diverse organization. We are a humane organization that honors diversity and protects individual rights. Open communication, respect for others, compassion, and a sense of humor contribute to our positive work environment. We make it possible for every employee to achieve his or her full potential. We value the cultural and social diversity that is reflected in our community, and we welcome the changes and new perspectives that this diversity brings to us. We protect those individuals whose basic rights are placed in jeopardy. I just want to remind people of that.
Thank you. Okay, next thing.
On the issue, I'm going to just talk about automated license plate readers because it is a bigger issue than just the company called Flock. There are a number of different companies out there. We have institutions, even Oregon State University uses license plate readers for parking enforcement. There's a number of entities do that. A number of our private businesses in Albany have them as well. The difference is when the government's involved in it, right? And so knowing what we just talked about in the sense of immigration, what safeguards have we put in place that to make sure that we're using a very important piece of technology with a exponential impact on the speed in which we can intervene on crime to individual rights and privacy, and especially around the issue of immigration. One of the things about the company in Flock, which we do have a contract with, we have currently 1 operating camera out of the 4, is that we are very closely monitoring our choices, and it is our choice, Captain Drum is our administrator, who we share our data with. And we have a couple different choices in that regards, and we've been very careful since this issue started to come on kind of the horizon over the last couple months. What are our settings? Because my job is to make sure we're in compliance with state law and we're following the rules set out for us. And so he's been monitoring it. We've been in constant communication with Flock. You've seen that documentation. Some of it's addressed specifically to the questions that you're getting. I am satisfied that our data is our data. And if we're not sharing it with anybody outside of our own reads, then that's exactly what's occurring. And Jerry has looked at I think the last portal said 65,000 or something reads, who's queried it and why. And one of the things that's coming at us is that some of these companies, including Flock, are adding additional safeguards, so questions. So why are you querying plates within the system? What is the criminal nexus to it? So it's not just a fishing expedition, so to speak. So this is a very important tool, and I'll give you a couple of different examples of where that return of investment has been in Albany. Over the last couple months, you heard in the paper about a pretty ugly domestic violence case where the suspect was not only charged with a domestic violence crime, it included the crime of kidnapping, but is also connected to a suspicious death of a 2-year-old. We didn't know where that suspect was. So we were able to enter a license plate into a hot list that told us that he was in Medford. Now, if we'd done that with human manpower, it would have taken us weeks, if not months, and had to use other resources. We were very quickly able to figure out where he was. It's a lead. That's all these are leads. And then individual agencies go down there and look for that individual, and we were able to get him into custody. A couple of years prior, before we were even a customer, another hot list. We had a murder of a local businessman here in town. The suspect stole his car. We were able to enter that vehicle plate onto a hot list and caught that suspect in San Diego who was caught on a Flock camera. And that person's in custody here in Albany. Think of your relatives that battle with dementia, silver alerts, those are hot list items. Very quickly, there's cameras out there that far outnumber police officers, and all the camera does is read license plates. They don't capture any driver information or anything like that. When a certain plate is entered by us that we're looking for, we'll get an alert that this car went through this location. Or say there's a hit and run crash where somebody's injured or killed, and we know that there's a black Dodge Charger that fled the scene. Captain Drum can go in there and say, is there any black Chargers that happened to be captured on a Flock camera within this approximate time and location? It's still a lead. We still have to build a case based on probable cause. If you follow our Facebook, and I hope you all do, we put out faces of people and vehicles of crimes. This is much more advanced, much faster, and less biased way to do that. So it's a lead. We still have to substantiate all of the data around that. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. And Captain Drum, who's our administrator and knows the nuts and bolts, can talk about it as well.
Councilor Van Dremelin, Councilor Thompson.
Not a question, just thank you for your diligence in both of these topics. I heard following Oregon law, and that's what I want to hear, because Oregon law is clear. And thank you for the diligence of getting the agreements from Flock in writing. I think that's important. Yeah, I think it's a cost saving. It's excellent tools for you guys, and just thanks for this report. Appreciate it.
So I have a question about, is it changing behaviors as far as speeding?
Different program. You're talking about phone enforcement. And yes, I do think we're changing behavior. We're already seeing numbers drop in North Albany, and the speeds drop as well.
Thank you.
Different technology, but still effective.
Yeah, so effective. Thank you. Counselor? Counselor McGee, you have anything?
I don't. Thank you.
Okay.
I do have
Go ahead,
one
please.
actually additional question. So, Peter, thank you very much for providing those documents throughout the last week and ahead of this meeting. I just want to make sure that I have a full understanding, because in the initial MOU that you had provided to the council, it looked like that uses some different language around data ownership than the formal contract that you had sent prior to this meeting. And I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly that the contract that you sent most recently, along with the letter from Flock clarifying use of data, that controls ownership of data, not the MOU.
That's correct.
Okay, cool. So we own the data. We get to determine what happens with the data, who gets, they don't have any discretion in how they use it, other than that clause in there, like to the extent necessary to provide the Flock service. Okay, excellent. Thank y'all. Appreciate the legwork to get that information.
Thank you both.
Welcome.
And I would, once again, what Chief Harnan was talking about, that is two different technologies, the traffic and automated traffic enforcement.
Oh, no, I know that. I
On
was
the
trying
one
to,
hand.
I was trying to find out the data to come down, that's all.
One final comment. I wanted to say I really appreciated the letter from the public affairs person at Flock, because it was written in plain language and very, very direct and very easy to understand. We do this, we do not do that. You do this, you do not do that. Thank you very much. That was, I think anybody could understand that letter.
Okay, thank you. Now, City Manager, anything else? With that, our next meeting is Monday, January 12th, after the new year, at 4 p.m. for a work session. Wednesday, January 14th, 2026, at 6 p.m. for a full-on meeting, City Council meeting. And with that, I'll say, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy